You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Hey folks, thanks for being here. Sorry about that. We had a few Twitter glitches, but we are back and we're live. Welcome. Sorry about that, guys. I got my guest here. Welcome again, guys, to another money space with me, Kalu Aja. Of course, on this space, we're talking money, the economy, and finance. We want to make those topics that you hear about in the finance space easy for you to digest, to understand. That way you can become a better investor and, of course, a better citizen. Today, we have a topic that we all want to know about, but don't want to talk about, right? We want to talk about estate planning. You know, the wills, the trusts, the foundations, the next of kins, all that kind of stuff, right? We want to really talk about it. How can we do it? What are the best practices? And all that. So, I mean, because how can we put it? It's something that we do, that we have to do. We can't get away from it. So let's get the experts in and basically ask them how best we can essentially do this. I've got two guests. Let me add them again so they can come on board and then they can talk to us around it, And let me just start by giving you guys maybe my own story around this estate planning thing and all that kind of stuff. I manage money for people. When I was back in Nigeria, I worked for an investment bank. I used to manage money for rich people. And this particular case that struck me, even till today, I think about it and I know it just fills me with, it fills me up with, I don't know the word to use. Well, I had this guy that was investing with my firm, and he told me, listen, don't give me any statements, don't call and leave a message that I have investments with you and all that. Simply just run this money for me, and, at the end, he wanted it kept private. That was his reason. That's fine. So I would go to him, would go outside the office, and I'll give him his statements, and we'll talk and all that. He was married. I knew he was married, but I knew too much about him. And I did this for about 2 years with the guy, and then I didn't hear from him again. I didn't hear from the guy, and I found out that he wasn't well. He was kind of ill. So I went to him, to the office. He was at the hospital. I went to the hospital. He was in a very, very bad shape. He didn't know who I was and all that. Long story short, this guy passes away. And when he passes away, he has all these assets in my firm. So I went for the burial. Do the wake keeping and all that. You know how you just go for a wake keeping and you can sense what's going on. I went for this wake. And I could see this guy was a very, very young guy. And I saw the wife for the first time. She was very young. They had one daughter. And you could just see the family were just all over the place. Like, they were already taking positions. You could just see it, They were ordering this, do this. Oh, this is for this. I just like, this is not going to work. So I sort of waited a bit, and I waited for the dust to settle, as it were, for them to bury him, for the morning to be over, because he didn't have any beneficiary. He had nothing on his papers. It was just him, was the sole owner. I mean, I reached out and I found out his house and all that kind of stuff, you know. And I went back, and I remember I told the wife, I went back and I told the wife, listen, I called on the phone. Yeah, I called on the phone. I said, listen, can you come and see me? If you know who I was, can you come and see me? It's very important. She said, what's it for? I said, come see me. I want to tell you something. And I gave her my information. And then she came. And then when she came one of the guys I had seen at the burial, one of the quote unquote uncles or brothers. She came with the guy. And I was very hesitant to speak, but I told her, I said, listen, this was going on. Your husband had money with us, and there's no beneficiary. This is what you need to go do to get this money, blah, 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 blah. Get it and come back and see me. Oh, they were very thankful, and they left. And the next day or the next week or so, the policemen came to the office, and they were like, oh, I had stolen the brother's money, and I didn't want to give it to them. That I said they have to give me a bribe or paperwork before they can get the money and all that kind of. So it was messy. So I called my boss, told him what's going on, and I was like, I fear this money is just going to disappear once we give it to her and all that kind of stuff. And because it was like, okay, yeah, it's their money, they signed off, they went and got the letter, we gave it to them and all that. And I gave it to her. It was a lot of money. I gave it to her. Young lady. I don't think she was she was young, had a kid. And, and I kept tabs with them. I went back to that house in 2 years' time. They had moved out of the house. They had moved out. And the guy was telling me, that they sold the house because they said they wanted to pay for the burial or something like that. And she had gone back to the village, and she was not doing too well when she left. And she had gotten all this money from me or from the company, the guy's money. Where's the money had gone to? The brothers, cousins, uncles, they had taken the money as part of their tradition, right? And this is what I know personally that's in business. I know, of course, you guys will know so in your personal life, these things happen. So essentially, when you see this happening, that's why I want to have topics like this, where we can tell you guys, how can you organize your asset? There's no point making all this money if you have no insurance, no estate planning, and then once something happens to you, it's dissipated. There's no point. Why did that guy save all that money? Just for him to pass away and then his kids don't get the money. That's just the point, So I want to have this space just to talk around those things, those highlights there. And then again, if you have the chance to also get my book, it's just shameless plug, but there's a topic also there on estate planning. And it's really from my experience. I've done private banking, I've done pensions, I've done investment management, and somehow you always end up in this estate planning, how to design your documents, what to write, what the wills mean. You always end up in this. So this is not a topic that is like I said, it's very, very people want to talk about, but we have to talk about it, especially as we're younger. We have to know what to do now, not wait till we are older. This is not something you do when you are old. You get your affairs in order today. All right, perfect. So let me. My guests are having a bit of we had Twitter issues when we were joining. Let me try maybe to take the floor, and then if they join, that would be fantastic. I think you guys would really benefit a lot from them. They're from a company that do this. So if they're able to join, that would be fantastic. So I've got it's supposed to be Oluwa and Bumi. If you guys can hear me, you have to request to speak, and I'll add you, and then we'll go. So the very, very first thing now, if you're taking notes, just let's do like a checklist. The very, very first thing you want to do once you start to work or once you have assets, right, is to have a next of kin. Have a next of kin. If you work for a company, they're going to ask you who is your next of kin. If you buy stocks, you have to put a beneficiary. If you have a bank account, you can put a beneficiary. A beneficiary does not mean a joint, just a beneficiary. In America, it's a beneficial owner, payable on debts. That's what they call it, which means if you pass away, that person is contacted, which means that asset will not go into probate. So I have Oluwapelumi here, one of my speakers. I'm going to have her introduce herself so that way I don't get ahead of myself and then pull back. Oluwapelumi, hi, how you doing? Do you want to unmute and then sort of say hi and all that?
Okay, thank you so much, Palu. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Oluwapelumi, trust advisor, private trust advisor with ARM Trustees. And Over to you, Khalid. I'd like to know what questions, what questions you would like me to address this evening.
Yeah, we had just started, and I was talking really about the issue of the next of kin. Or let's start with just the overview of estate planning. What really is estate planning? How should we approach it? Just give us an overview of what estate planning means.
Okay, thank you. Estate planning, most times, let me start with what it is not. So we have individuals, when they think of estate, they think of, oh, real estate. Oh, I live in this particular estate, but that is not it. So when we talk about estate in this sense, it's referring to everything a person owns. So when we say estate planning, so it means it is a plan, it's something you put together on how you are going to transfer everything that you own in the nearest future or in the far future to your beneficiaries. So we understand that you've worked, you've accumulated these assets, and it could contain perhaps financial assets, real assets. Then there needs to be a plan towards how this should be distributed or how your wishes are to be carried on when one goes into eventuality. And it's beyond distribution, there is the preservation, there is the privacy, depending on the type of estate planning tool you may wish to consider. So estate planning is not something to maybe shy away from or something to be scared about. It's just keep thinking about your future, planning ahead. So that's what essentially it is. And it's you putting things together, you putting your house in order just in case we don't know tomorrow. Life, one certain thing of life is the fact that it is uncertain. So that is one of the things that estate planning does for you. So it makes you think forward, think towards the future, put a plan in place towards all what you have worked for.
That is fantastic. I've got Bumi here. Bumi, how you doing? Welcome to the party, Bumi. How sorry for jumping and kicking you out again. Can you go ahead and speak and introduce yourself? Then we can just get cracking, Bumi. How you doing?
Hi, Carlo. Good evening.
Good evening
My name
to
is
you.
Blessing, not Bumi.
I apologize.
No problem, I understand. So my name is Blessing Obame. Good evening, everyone on the call. I'm from AIM Trustees, private trust advisor. Just like my colleague has also introduced herself. Nice talking to everyone on the call.
All right, fantastic. I have both of you here. Let's just start with the overview, right? So most Nigerians hear next of kin. We hear when you go to work in a company, they say, who's your next of kin? What is next of kin? Let's start from there. What is the next of kin? If I have a bank account and I have an employer, what does next of kin mean? And how should I use it?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So legally, next of kin is somebody that you use for emergency contact or basically someone that in case you have any emergency at work or if they want to call on somebody, then it's your next of kin they will call on. But we've noticed that Nigerians majorly, they believe next of kin is somebody that we can inherit from the person's assets, but it does not actually guarantee that your next of kin is just used for emergency contacts. And we noticed also that people use next of kin, they can use their children. You will see next of kin, they will use their 1-year-old child. What if there's an emergency? How doctor reach a 1-year-old child? So that's why we have to educate people that next of kin is somebody that's actually capable and is mentally sound that you can actually call for any emergency issues. That's what next of kin is all about.
So legally, does the next of kin doesn't own any assets? It's just who you call upon?
No, legally it does not. It's just for emergency contact because even the banks will not recognize the next of kin or even the insurance companies or even the pension. You have to go by way of letter of administration or by a will. So without a will or without a letter of administration, and when I mean letter of administration, I mean someone that died intestate. So you have to go to the probate to get a letter of administration to assess that person's estate before you can actually get the benefits from the person's estate. So if you don't have any of that, you can't, as a next of kin, you can't access the person's benefits. However, in some instance, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So we've seen instances that some companies majorly they don't even know the difference between next of kin and beneficiaries. So I will give a live scenario, right? So there's this company, it's a very big company in Nigeria, right? So the person is an employee of that company. The person has a will with us. So, but when you're trying to market your products and you went to the company to say, okay, we want your staff to have this estate plan in place and all that. So this person eventually subscribed to the estate plan. That's the will. So when the person passed on, he's a very young guy. The man passed on. The wife is not working and all that. So the father, because the man before he married, he used the father as next of kin, right? So the father now went to the company to go and say that, okay, you want to get the benefits from the company, but maybe because the HR was knowledgeable, she understands the rudiment of what next of kin is. And that is what we keep enlightening people. The next of kin is not somebody that can just come and collect benefits. You have to go through the normal process, which is the beneficiary process and all that. So the man went to the company making noise that he is the next of kin to the company, to the guy, to the man, that he needs to get the benefits. And the man did not update his next of kin after he got married. He has been using the documents right before he got married. So he didn't update, and that is also an important thing we tell people. Whenever there's any major changes in your life, try to update every document, either your bank applications, your insurance documents. Update every document to be sure that it captures your recent life scenario, life changes, activities. So the HR now called us that this man is here to collect the benefits. I thought this man has a will with you. And we said, yes, that was how the case went off. And inside the will, the man did not even recognize his father. He didn't put anything for his father. So assuming the HR was not knowledgeable about what next of kin is, that was how the man would have taken the money, right? And the wife and the children would be stranded. And unfortunately, the children are abroad schooling. They had to come back to Nigeria because the mother could not finance the school fees anymore. But thankfully, there was a will that captured everything for them. So, but let's put ourselves in that situation as if, what if the HR was not knowledgeable about this, what next of kin is, and what is the difference?
The
HR could have paid exactly. They could have processed the benefits, and they would have given the man. And what if the father-in-law is not somebody that really likes the wife? What could have happened to the family? They could have. So all these things we have to educate. So next of kin is just for emergency contact. It's not for people to access the benefit of a dead person. No, you have to go through the process, the normal process to put in your beneficiaries and all that. State whatever you want. That's how you can access the death benefit of anybody that exists. Thank you.
All right, that is understood and that is appreciated. So walk me through. Let's say I'm a 25-year-old guy. I just dare to work in a bank or whatever. How should I approach do I do a will when I'm 25? Can I do that? Walk me through. I heard you say someone died intestate. That means he died without a will. But give me best practice. Yeah. How? I mean, both of you, just you and I know. How should I'm a 25-year-old guy. I am not married. I have no dependent. What should I do? Should I write a will? Who do I put? Give me a scenario and then give me the best practice.
Okay, do you want me to answer or my colleague Pelumi should answer that question?
Both of you can just basically decide who's going to answer. We just want to learn from both of you.
Okay, so for me, for a 25-year-old, like I tell people, a will is not, or estate planning is not restricted to any age. As far you are working, then you are supposed to have an estate plan in place, right? Especially for a bank account. We've noticed that even people of 18 years, they have bank accounts. And we've seen instances that people now, we're not saying we will die, but what is happening in the country or what is happening in the world, even a child of 10 years is gone. We don't know. Different things can happen, right? So we've seen instances. So once you are 18 and you have a bank account, you are supposed to have a will. You are supposed to have a will. Mm-hmm. So because the bank account, it will capture, the will will capture your bank account. So in case of any eventualities, then your beneficiary, they can access it. Yes, some people will say, I don't have anything. The only thing I have in my account is 1,000 naira. But even that 1,000 naira is something that if you give it out to charity will actually appreciate that 1,000 naira, right? So it's something, instead of you leaving it to the bank and you allow the bank to sit on it or use it for other things that you don't even want. Maybe that was not your reach in the first place. So it's estate plan does not limit to anybody. It's whenever once you are 18, you're supposed to have an estate plan in place, either a will, either a trust. So it now depends on you talking to a trust advisor or an estate plan professional, or even your lawyers, trustees. Talk to people, ask them what is the best thing I can do, right? And they will tell you, they look at the circumstances and tell you what exactly you can do.
Okay.
So if it's will, for bank accounts, you have to have a will to access your bank accounts for any beneficiary to access a bank account of a deceased person.
So, gotcha. So let me ask the follow-up. So what's the difference with a will, trust? Which is better? Maybe Balloon can come in here. Which is better? I mean, is which is more expensive? What's the difference? Will and trust. I hear trust coming in and all that. And again, I wanted to also follow up with you. You said you have to have a will to access a bank account. But trust can do that as well, right? That's going to maybe come in your answer. Just wills and trust. What's the difference and which is better?
Okay. Thank you, Adu. Thank you so much, Blessing. So the major difference between a will and a trust is, number one, once someone has a will, nothing can be done. The will only becomes effective when someone dies. So before you can do anything or take any action, one has to, has gone to the other side. So that is when you can now begin the process of, getting the assets, going to get the grant of probate and the like. But a trust is different. While you are still alive, you can enjoy the benefits of that trust. And even when one goes into eventuality, you can also continue to enjoy the benefits. Not you, rather, your beneficiaries. So it's not something you are waiting for something to happen. It's a plan that begins even right now and then continues even after you've gone. So how I see the trust, it helps you put your legacy in place. What you want to leave behind, how it should be, you can start it now. And then the trust also avoids probate. When you write the will, you have to go to get the grant of probate, and you know how things can be, and the bureaucracies that come with getting those kind of things with the Nigerian court system and all. But with the trust, you don't have to do all that. Even the inheritance tax, you don't have to, pay all of that, because the trust is already in place and you have that. However, there are certain assets that you can put into a trust, just as Blessing had mentioned. Number one, you can.
Hi, Blessing. Hi, look, Balloon. Hi, can you guys hear me? I'm sorry if you guys can hear me. I really can't hear anyone speak. Just letting you know. Hey, I do apologize, man. Space is kind of glitchy today, so apologies to all of you. But we're dealing with the space issues. So yeah, really, really apologize. But it's just glitchy today, so I do apologize. Blessing, I know I couldn't hear a thing, and then it just sort of took us all out. So I hope everyone is back in. I do apologize, guys. Yeah, so Blessing, I'm not sure. Sorry, not by myself, Blessing. But look, I'm not sure where you stopped. You were really walking us through different between wills and trusts. I didn't hear till the end. I'm not sure where you stopped. I would love to have picked up from there. I had a few questions about wills and trust, but your colleague is here, so I'm going to basically ask her. Um, so I want to make her as a speaker. I think she's here as a listener. So once she hops in, yeah, great. So I'm not sure where you dropped off. I was going to ask you a question about wills and trust. You were giving us the differences. You were saying wills is only when the event has occurred, but trust you can actually use a trust while still at like a living trust. So I'm not sure if you finished your chain of thought. If you want to conclude that, and I can ask you a question.
Okay, I think I did,
Okay.
but I can do a recap if that will be fine.
That would be fine. Just in case people that just joined in, then I have a
Yeah, just
question.
join
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Just do a quick recap on
Okay,
those wills and trust for us again. And again, I had a
okay,
question
so
before you go far. You said probate. Lots
okay,
of folks don't know what probate is. So please explain what probate is. Then you can do that overview of wills and
okay,
trust. Yeah.
okay. So when we talk about probate, so this is a court process that how it's a proceeding that you are now able to access. Let's say maybe if it is a will that has been written, you'll be granted what we call the letter of as execution, letter of administration. And then if maybe there was no will written, the person dies in testate, then you'll be given the letter of administration. And typically you would go to the probate registry. We
Mm-hmm.
have one at Ikeja. Yes, so they would apply for it. There is an application form and all, and then you will fill in certain documents. So if the person has maybe they will request for certain things like the death certificates and all, both from the hospital and from the NPC. And also, apart from that, they will also ask you certain things like, okay, if the funeral has gone through, the pictures of the funeral, then even the type of assets that the person has, maybe the bank accounts and all. That is for someone that died testate with a will. So what is contained in that will, because that will would have been lodged already. So that is even the first part of that entire process. So a will that is not lodged, blessing, we also need your input here. When you've not lost that will, there can be little issues because once you say, oh, someone is dead, you will go with your copy, the probate will bring out their own copy. So once you lodge a will, the probate registry keeps one, you have one, and if you have maybe trustees or executors, they also have one. So you will bring that to them. There's a number that is tagged to which one, like an application number on it that is tagged to which that they have there. So once they bring that out, then there's a form that you fill that has certain details. Is that application form, sort of, let me call it that, is what you will take to the banks for them to give you the bank certificate certifying, oh, what is in this account and all. From there, you would go to, oh, the real estate that was mentioned, they have to do valuation. It's a whole lot of process. So that's
Okay.
what happens when you are getting all that. Yes.
So
So
let
you
me
have your executors doing that for you.
just to walk back. I heard you say, so you're saying if I write a will, I have to take that will and file it so that they have their
Yes, it has to
copy.
be lodged.
Where do I
It
file
has
it?
to be lodged at the probate registry.
Where is that? Is that like in every state? Where is it in the same place
So
in every
okay,
state?
let me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Blessing.
Okay, so for every state has a probate registry, right? In Lagos, we have two probate registries, so you can. We have all the jurisdictions have their own probate registry basically. So you can lodge at anywhere. You can lodge at Ikeja. You can lodge at Eco Lagos Division. That is Island. So you can lodge anywhere. So every jurisdiction has their own probate registry. And just to buttress what my colleague has said, the probate is just a legal process to validate a will or appoint administrators where there is no will. So for a will, when you have a will, like my colleague said, you have to lodge at the probate to make it valid. So after the death of the person, and make sure you have done the burial arrangements for the person before the reading of the will kick in. The reading of the will not kick in until the person has actually done until the family members have done the burial arrangements, they finalize the burial sentence, because we need all those documents to apply for the grant of probate rights. And if it's for letter of administrations, you also present all those documents, and then they will now do their normal process, putting in newspaper to be sure that nobody's contesting. They want to be an administrator for the family and all that. Then they will not grant the letter of administration. So it's a whole lot of process, like my colleague said. But it's better to be safer. When I mean safer, it's better to have a will than not have a will, because even when you have a will, the process can take like 6 months just for you to get the grant of probate, because we've seen a whole lot that even to, like my colleague said, you have to go to the bank to make sure that all the banks on that will that the person has written, they have to endorse the balances on that amount on their accounts. So compared to someone that does not even have a bill, you know how many banks, you don't even know the banks that you are going to. And most people, they are secretive, right? They don't even tell their partners what they have. So you will even know exactly where to locate all those assets. So I've even seen instances that this person, he does not even have a will, and this is a real life situation, right? He does not have a will, and the court appoints us to be the administrators.
Appoint who?
Interim administrator.
That's you, your company.
Yes, the trustees. Because there was issues around the family members. Somebody said, I want to be the administrator, I want to be, and you know when they say administrator or executors, it means the person that was going to carry out the process of distribution on behalf of the family, right?
Yeah.
For those assets. So there were issues around, I want to be this person, I want to be the one to do it. No, I'm the elder brother, I want to be the one to do it. I'm the younger brother, I'm the one closer to this person. So the court saw all these issues. So they appointed an independent third party, which is the trustee, we now. So when they appointed us, we asked the wife, okay, where are the assets? What do you know the husband have? How many accounts, bank account does your husband have? She said, I can only remember 2. I don't know if he has another account and all that. So we wrote to the bank, right? The bank only said he has only 1 million. And this is not somebody that is just a random person. Let me use that word. He's someone that is very big in the society, is influential. He works in a big company, headquarters in Abuja, and that's where he works. So we were like, this person cannot have just 1 million in accounts. When the children, all the 5 children, they are all abroad, right? It's not possible for him to have just 1 million. So we went to his office in Abuja, and that's one of the advantage of using an executor or a trustee, let me put it that way. So we went to his office to go and check all his office to be sure that, okay, let's just take inventory of all his assets in his office. Maybe some people will leave their things in the office. So we went to the office, we saw a check stub of a particular bank, a very popular bank in Nigeria. And we know we've written to the bank before now that please declare the amount this person has in the account. They said the person does not have any account with them. So when we saw the check stub, we went back to the office. We came back to Lagos. We wrote a letter to them. Okay, this person, we saw this check stub in his office. Please confirm that this person has an account with you. They said no. So we have to go back again. We wrote another letter. We now copied CBN in this instance. So we sent letter to CBN and we also sent letter to the bank. And the next thing we saw a mail from CBN asking that the bank should declare how much the person has in the account, right? And luckily for us, when the bank, after CBN gave that instruction, they said they will be declared, and the person has close to 296 million in the account.
What?
296 million.
Why did the bank not declare it? Why did the bank say no?
That is the point. You know, most banks, that's where they get their own revenues from, right?
Wow.
Yes. So that is one of the things we are.
A bank can do that. A bank can just say you have no money with them when you have money with them. I mean, this was a bad actor.
Yes, we've seen instances like that.
Wow. So I was going to ask, so if I have a trust, do I also go to probate?
No, you don't have to go to probate, because for a trust, the trust is confidential. It's just between you, it's between the person that is setting it up, that's the set law. We refer to them as set law, and the trustee. For a trust is just a legal arrangement that is holding assets and is managing assets on behalf of the beneficiaries. So it's between the settlor and the trustees. So even the beneficiaries, so if you've heard of trust fund kids, that is what they are enjoying the benefits of a trust. Because maybe their great grandfather or their father has done something for them, maybe like education trust or even living trust and all that. So they are enjoying those dividends from the trust. So trust does not go through probate at all. So it's just strictly between the trustees and the settlor. So whatever instruction that was set out in the trust, then the trustees will have to abide by it. So it does not go through probate.
Okay,
but for a will,
go ahead.
A will has to go through probate.
Okay, so question for you. How much does it cost me to get a will done in Lagos? How much will it cost me to get a trust done in Lagos?
Okay, so I can only speak for my company, right? I can't speak for other companies. We have many trust houses in Nigeria, so everybody has their own price list. But I can speak for my company. For ARM trustees, right? We've devised 3 means because we're trying to educate people to know about what estate plan is all about. Like I said in my opening speech, that estate planning is not dependent on maybe you're wealthy or you're above 50 something or you're planning your retirement. No. As far as you have a bank account, you have a retirement savings account, that's pension accounts, because when you start working, you must have a pension account if you're in a corporate setting. That's why you have all of that. Then it's important for you to have a will, even at least. So for us, we've devised the means, like I said. So we have the easy will, which captures the retirement savings account and your bank account, and it's just 86,000 naira. Hi folks, 86,000. We also have the comprehensive will, that's with people that have larger estates. And when I mean estates, I do not mean the amenity estate of the streets or no. When I say estate is whatever you own as a person: wristwatch, your clothes, your bags, your cars, your accounts, everything you own. That's what an estate means. So for people that have larger estates, then we charge that's what we call comprehensive will. We charge them. We have the minimum fee. The minimum entry fee. Also, we have for people that, yes, I don't have larger estates. I have more than pension and bank accounts. I have like real estate properties, about 4. We also have what we call standard will for them, and we also have their own pay grade for them. So it depends on the once we see your estate, we'll give you what we call asset inventory. So once we see that, then we'll not talk.
I already get that sense. So what about the will? If I write a will and I just take to the probate, does it cost me money? That would happen after the fact, right?
Okay, so when you're writing a will with us, we'll help you lodge the will at the court. Our is just to give you the copy of the lodged will. Once the court has done their appropriate process, then we'll give you the copy. Okay. So for you to go and keep it, if you want to keep it in your house, or we want you to keep it for you, we also do that for you. We'll keep it for you. Okay. Some people say, I don't want my partner to see it, so we also do custody for them.
Interesting. So just based on your experience, do you think wills is it like better to do a will or is it better to do a trust? Based on your experience, which one would you advise the client to go after? Write a will or do a trust?
Okay, so like I said, no family are the same and everybody's circumstances are different, right? So it depends on the objective of the person, and it depends on, some people will tell you that the amount for setting up a trust is expensive, I can't do this. So it depends on the objective of what the person intends to achieve with those assets. If it's just a one-time distribution, or you want us to keep managing those assets for you, even upon demise, then like I said, it just depends on the objective of the person. But we have to have a sit down to know what your assets are, the ones that can fit into a will, the ones that can fit into a trust, and what you want to do with those assets. So, and it's even a way for you to even know everything that you own, basically like an asset inventory. So it depends on, I can't really recommend that in a will it's better, a trust is better, because there are some assets that cannot enter a trust, and there are some assets that cannot enter, that every asset can enter a will, so to speak. But for bank accounts and pension, it can't enter your trust. That's the requirement from government.
So I didn't get that again. You said bank accounts can't enter your trust. What do you mean by that?
It can't enter your trust. It has to go through the process of probate, right? It has to be in a will so that it can be probated, so that the probate can take their own tax. We have what we call inheritance tax, right? 10% of all your assets. So probate has to take their 10%.
Wait. Okay. So give me a lot of information. So number one, there's a tax on 10% of any asset you have when you pass on. The government takes that 10%.
Yes, in your will.
In your will. But then you said that the RSA and the bank statements cannot go into a trust. They have to go into a will so they can be taxed.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. But for your pension, government does not take tax on it, right? Though it will be in your will, but they don't take tax on it. Because they believe that it's a contribution that you did while at service. You paid your tax. When you were working, you paid your payee and all that. So they don't take tax on your pension again.
So let me summarize.
But for your bank accounts, they take tax.
Just to summarize, if I have a bank account, I have a pension account, I have real estate, I have stocks, the bank account and the pension must go into the will. They can't go into the trust.
No, they can't go into the trust.
What about the property?
The property can either be in the will or the trust, depending on your objective of those properties, what you intend to use with that property.
Gotcha.
So some people will tell you, I just want to give it to my child, I don't want issues, I don't want just a one-time distribution to my children. They will go and be finalizing whatever it is. Then we advise that they should put it in a will, just for, it has to go through probate to take their own percentage on it. But if for someone that wants to say, okay, I don't want probate to take double charges because I've already paid money at the land registry, then we can say, we advise, we can put it in a trust, then an SP will be holding those property for you.
Okay. Does this change if it's a corporate? If I have I own a business, I own a restaurant, it's owned by limited or PLC, limited, let's say limited. Does it change in any way? Do I have to put what happens in that if I own the business 100% or 80%? What happens to my ownership?
You can put your business in your trust, so it will continue to, even after succession planning will come in place and your generation after will take over those business. So it's even better to put it in a trust so that your generation, your children can manage those properties, they can manage those business, or they can continue those business for you. That's what, like I said, it depends on the objective, what you want. It depends on your objective. So some people say, I want my business to continue even after me. Some people say, I don't want my business to continue. So it depends on whatever you want. We have to have a sit down with you. Then we'll look at your goals, look at your wishes, your intentions and all that. Then we'll now recommend a suitable estate plan for you. So most times we tell people it's better to do a will than a trust. Some people will tell you it's better for you to do a will. While some people say, okay, so it depends on whatever objectives we have. We have to have a sit. Yes, we have to have a sit down.
And final question before we bring it up again to another topic, right? So what if I have a bank account owned by the corporate? That will still go to the will. Bank account owned by the corporate. So Emeka Containers has a bank account. Will that go to? Can I put in the trust, or it must still go to the will?
It will be in the will.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, very interesting.
Yes.
All right. So thanks for that information. Let me see if Ifrex has a quick question. And I want to go into foundations. Ifrex, how you doing? Thanks for you were there before we lost you. Thanks for coming back over. Do you have a question for I've got both Plex and Lower Column? We're talking about wills, trust, foundations, next of kin and all that. Any questions, sir?
Yeah, Mr. Carlo, good evening.
Good evening to you, sir. Yeah.
I was just listening to her speaking. There are some things that in our society that we think we know, but we don't really know. Like in the case of the next of kin, I've not gone to research about it before. We just automatically think that if someone uses you as a next of kin, it means if you die or something happened to the person, is your next of kin that will take over everything that you own, but not necessarily knowing that it's an emergency contact. This person is just an emergency contact. I remember when even my dad started using me as his next of kin, even when I was, let's say, 1 year old, till today. So, after then, I started using my younger brother and the rest. So, not knowing that the next of kin of the
it's not what you thought about. Yeah, that's why I brought the experts, because that's what we all do. Next of kin, we'll put I know again. I'm going to ask when we talk about it. You see, men in Nigeria would put their male child, 2-year-old male child. They won't put the female that's an adult. They'll put the male child next of kin. We do that. I'm going to ask him to speak on it. It doesn't make sense because he's not an adult. He can't do contract. But Yeah, but yeah, did you have a question? That was a good observation. But did you have a question for them?
No, no question. I'm just enjoying the space for now. There's
Perfect.
no question for now.
Excellent. I've got Blessing. Your hand is up. Let's take you. Thank you again. You're one of the folks that were there, and we got kicked out. Blessing, do you have a question?
Yes, please. Good evening, Mr. Carlo.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent.
Good evening, Bellumi. All right. Please, I have a question. My question is on the will. So, assuming, okay, I write a will today. Let me say I'm 25 years old. I have my bank account and my RSA, and then I write a will on that and give you. Maybe I involve your company to do that for me. And after everything is finalized, maybe I'm 30, 35, I bought some land, properties, houses, cars, and I want to add that to my will as well. So will anything change? Do I need to? And then maybe I want to change, yes, everything about the will. Maybe then I wasn't married, I was single, and now I'm married, I have kids, or I want to use my husband or somebody else, as my next of kin or whoever will inherit anything there in the will. So how do I go about it? Do I need to come back to your company? Will this incur additional cost, or the processes and all of that? Thank you.
That's a good question overall. And I'm again, Blessing and Pelumi, overall, like if a single person does a will or trust and then your status changes, if you can also expand on that, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Blessing, for that question. That was a good observation, and at least a lot of people will learn from that. Yes, you can always update your wills as time changes, as your situation changes. You can update your will. Actually, we even recommend that people review their will. Once you make a will, review your will to accommodate life changes. Maybe twice, once in a year, or even twice in a year, depending on what life changes actually happen. Since, like you said, if you are getting married and all that, yes, you can do a codicil or you do a fresh will, which will override the first one that you've done. So you can do a codicil to, when I say codicil is like an additional to the first one you've done. But if there are a lot of changes, I will recommend, for my own instance, I will recommend you do a fresh will. And yes, it will incur charges, right? You are doing a fresh will, even if you are doing codicil, but the amount may be minimal to whatever you've paid initially. But it is recommended that you do review your wills every time to be sure that it captures everything that you've done. We've seen instances that people that did will 2004, and they will have done so many things even from that 2004 to now, but yet they didn't review their will. So you'll be seeing so many discrepancies during the reading of the will and all that, because the person has failed to update the will, or even because maybe the property that he put in the first will, maybe it has been sold and all that. So it will not be left that the beneficiary that was gifted that will does not have anything. So it's actually recommended that you update your will either by a codicil or by doing a fresh will. But most times I recommend to my clients that it's better to do a fresh will, because Nigerian government, especially Nigerian government offices, you see the way most documents are just lying down, and when it's time for you to read the will, we now start looking for this person has a codicil, we don't know where we kept it. So it's better for you to have a whole document in one piece than having joint documents. So for me, I recommend doing a fresh will to accommodate all those life changes. But if it's just a life change that is just maybe just a minimal, maybe just to reflect a name or to add somebody, then you can do a codicil. As far the executors or the trustees will keep their own copy. So when it's time for the reading of the will, they can always try to look at the document together and see if it matches. So yes, it's important to update a will. It's very important.
Blessing, did you have a follow-up on that? Blessing, did you answer your question? You got that?
Yeah, I got that. And I wanted to ask you, I think someone is in the comments, same question I wanted to ask, like the payments that we make to your company for a will, is it something that we pay once, or is it something that we, like, insurance premium or something? Is it like a one-time payment or?
Mm-hmm. It's a one-time payment. Once you make the payment for the will, that's all. You're not making any payment again unless you are coming back to do updates, like maybe a codicil or a fresh will. It's a one-time payment.
Okay. I had a question for both of you.
Okay, and
Go ahead, Blessing. Blessing, go ahead. Blessing, go ahead.
yeah, okay. And you also mentioned that if you do everything and then you can give the client a copy, and if you want custody, you can also do custody. So is that custody like something separate? I thought probably it's kind of inclusive in the package, because you said if you want custody. So can you like elaborate more on that custody?
Okay, so what I meant by everyone custody. So some people, they will tell you, especially males, they will tell you, or men, let me use that word, men will tell you that I don't want my wife to know I have estate plan. And also you have to be careful when you tell people that you have a will, right? It's not even something you're supposed to be telling people, because you've seen instances that a father will tell the child, I have a will in place, and the child will now go and be searching the house and see that my father has a will, and maybe the will is not even favoring him, it's favoring the younger brother. You've seen instances that the brother will kill the father, or will kill the younger brother just to access all of that. So sometimes we encourage people, even if you want to tell anybody, tell a trusted person, or maybe your company. You can just say your company, in case anything happens to me, just know I have an estate plan, or I have a plan with so company. You don't need to even specify what you have. So when I mean by custody, I mean by, like I said, some people they don't want their family members to know they have this will, so they keep it with us and tell you that I don't want my copy, just keep it with you. Just keep it. I don't want my copy. So it's not like it's attracting any charge. We're just keeping it for free, because it's either you take your copy or you don't want to take your copy. But most times we get a copy for clients. But some clients will tell you, I don't want my family members to know how we will, because of they actually know their family well more than me. I don't know their family. I don't know this happens. I don't know what is going on in the family. So if you say I don't want my children to know, just keep it with you. Whenever the eventuality crystallize, then you know what to do. So that's what I mean by custody. Not like you are taking additional charges. No. So just doing it, keeping it for just an additional service to people, just to make sure their life is safe.
Okay, just a follow-up question again. So the will has the administrator that can be corporate as well. Same with the trust can also have a corporate. So both can have a corporate, right?
Yes, you can have a corporate institution.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So let me go back to Pelumi and yourself as well, so anyone can answer. So what are these things of a foundation? Like we've talked about the next of kin, we've talked about the wills, we've talked about the trust. What about foundations? If I want to do a foundation to support my school or hospital, what is the process? How do I do that? Can I give them money? And is that going to be beneficial for me in terms of the tax side? Is this going to be taxed? If you could give us just your view on that, that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you so much, Karen. Thank you, Blessing, also for doing justice to that difference with the will, trust, and all. So essentially, it's majorly on the objective. So when you set up a foundation, you know that it's mostly for charitable givings. So though you can use a trust for that purpose also, but if you know majorly I'm going to set up a foundation for maybe women with breast cancer, or to help the less privileged children, and also there is a legacy um, um, there's a legacy, there's something that's with legacy around it and charitable giving. I know essentially for NGOs, they are not taxed and all. So that's why the tax advantage. It's not about wealth preservation, it's not about asset protection where you have the trust. So we see that the structure is kind of different. Though a trust is a legal entity, a foundation is also a legal entity. But this one, the purpose is clearly defined for maybe charitable giving, philanthropic reasons, and all. So if an individual comes to me and says, see, I want a seamless transfer to my beneficiaries, to my children, to go into the next generation, I will not be saying set up a foundation. But if you're saying, see, I have this particular sum of money and I want it to continue even to the third or fourth generation to just support maybe students of Unilag, then we'll be looking at a foundation. And then, the trust is governed by what we call a trust deed and then our common law. But the foundation, it has articles or charter of the foundation, and then it's also still governed by civil law and all. So as a trust deed will contain your wishes, those things that you want. You as the person setting it up, that person is called a state law. Foundation is a legal entity on its own, and it will have its charters, it will have its articles, And then in Nigeria, the NGOs must be registered with CAC. So you might have to go and register that. But a trust, you don't need to do that. That is why essentially purpose must be known. There's this famous quote that said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So it is your objective. What exactly do you want to achieve? Then you will not know which vehicle, which estate planning tool you are going to use. So for someone that is saying, oh, I want a trust to protect my family, my assets, there is no need for you to go to a foundation. Because foundation, you must not declare, since you register with CSC, there will be filings and all, you will declare, there will be documentations reporting to the government in and out. You must also be registered with school, SCUM, anti-money laundering and all those kind of things. So it's in the public, everyone knows about it. So if your aim is something private, you don't want to give out and all, we will not be saying you should use a foundation. So those are certain things in the creation and the ownership. So for if it's a trust, is owned by is held by the trustees on behalf of the beneficiaries. But if it's a foundation, it's the foundation itself that owns that asset that are transferred to it. So there are various differences, but the important thing to know when setting up anything, any type of estate plan, either a will, a trust, or a foundation, is your objective. When we understand the objective, then the most desirable will be structured for you.
That is well understood. So let me give you a scenario. We have 5 people that do go and watch Arsenal every weekend and all that. Those 5 people can come together and do like a group life, right? Is there I'm asking because my friends do this. Like, we have an association and we all came together and we got a group life scheme, and then we got a corporate that owns the group life. So when someone passes away, we don't have to pass the hat. Is there any best practice in doing this, sort of like coming together to then either own assets or own a structure that can then pay to take care of burials and even next of kin expenses? Do you have any experience in this regard?
When you're talking about group life scheme, you're talking more, you are going towards insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are looking towards trust, because trust is a bit different from insurance. For the trust, if we are not waiting for any eventuality to occur, even while the individuals can come together, they don't even need to be related by blood. As long as there is a trust deed that states, what is going to be happening, who are the beneficiaries, they can come together and say, see, we are creating this trust for this purpose, and then list the individual beneficiaries that will be contained in the trust deed. And then what happens is, according to what is stipulated in that trust deed, when we disbursement come out, or if anything happens to maybe anyone, any of the settlers, so a settler doesn't have to be one person. You can have 2, 3, 4, 5 individuals. So if anything happens to one of them or one of the beneficiaries, this is what should happen. This sum of money should go out to this individual. It is that structured. But if you want an insurance, how people make insurance with trusts is, when there is maybe a life insurance policy, you can mention the trust as the beneficiary, such that whatever payout to be given will be paid into the trust. Then, in accordance to what is stipulated in the trust deed, those funds will now be disbursed.
All right, perfect. Let me get 2 guys I want to speak, and I'm going to go into power of attorney after this. Let me get Walters, and we have Cliff. So, Walters, you have a question. We've been talking about wills, trusts, next of kings. We've got 2 resource people here from. Can you guys just get saying where you guys are from, just in case by just joining? What company you guys represent, please?
My question.
ARM Trustees. Okay, ARM Trustees. Gotcha. Walters, please go ahead.
Thanks for the privilege. My question has been answered. The last lady asked the question, so that's what I wanted to ask.
Okay, so you're all set.
Yeah, I'm all set.
All right, perfect. Cliff, you've got the floor, Cliff. Thank you so much. Cliff.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. Thank you for having me. So basically, I have 2 concerns and one question. And my first concern will be around service delivery. I want them to explain what their service delivery is like. And I'm asking this question because it seems like most wonderful products designed in Nigerian financial institutions only take cognizance of people who reside in Nigeria. They don't really think about, people outside Nigeria. And I'm actually speaking from experience because I think I have a product with one of the ARM companies, the mutual funds guys. And since I traveled out, I've been trying to reach them on the mutual funds and I don't seem to get response. So is it a case of, yes, you have these wonderful products and then people want to subscribe and you're getting all this attention and then people are chasing you and there's no form of communication from your end? That's one. Two, are you digitizing your products in the sense that when I have that first contact with you,
Cliff, hold on.
Yeah.
I really want to I want to focus the topic on and I get your question is very, very germane. It's your money. I get it, but I want to focus the topic on the topic on the header. It looks like you have a customer service issue with ARM.
Okay, not really a personal issue, but I just wanted to know because these products that you've mentioned here, they are really something that is worth investing in. So I just wanted to get that confidence that if we come to them, that we will get that service delivery that is required. So, but I think for the one that pertains to the topic that we are speaking on is, so my question there will be, if I have estates across borders, across various climes, and I really want to subscribe to these ARM trusts, would it also take into cognizance all these other estates that reside in various countries?
So essentially, he's asking for the air. He's asking, is it only in Nigeria that you guys can offer this service? I guess that's the question I'm getting from Cliff. Do you offer? If I have assets in America, can you guys sort of also be my trustee? Well, let me your blessing. Yeah, anyone go for it.
Okay. Yes, if you have real assets, yes, it can also be under your trust. But what we'll just do is we'll just also work with, because trust works with jurisdiction also. So we'll also work with lawyers, legal practitioners over there in the establishment of the SPVs and all. So that's just the only thing.
Is it possible to have a stockbroking account owned by a trust? Like if I own a trust and what I'm asking is that can I have a structure where I keep on making a real current investment into, not like a will, but like a trust where I own this trust and the trust is buying assets on my behalf and the trust already has its own instruments laid out in the event that I'm no longer there. Is it possible in Nigeria to have that?
Yes, you can.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Palumi, you can speak. Don't worry, you can speak.
Okay. Yeah, so your trust, you can have a CSCS account. Under for your trust where you can, you can buy stocks, shares, and trade. But the only thing is, once you put it in the trust, and you know how very volatile the stock market is, when maybe you are sending requests for some trades and all, because of the peculiarity of that market space, there may be delays in that execution. So what we typically advise is that there be a portfolio under the trust. So that portfolio, there can have be different asset classes that can have maybe the fixed income portion and the equity portion. So where you have dedicated investment managers who actively trade and then give, return. So it's not like you'll be giving instructions like, trade stock A, buy bank A and B shares and no, bank C shares and no. And you know how very volatile the market can be. So you just leave these discretionary rights to the trustee, to the investment managers, and they manage it under the portfolio, and the portfolio is reporting under the trust. And then there's a target return for the portfolio, the benchmark return also, and so that's how it's basically operated. So it's something you can generate income from the trust.
So essentially, that the answer is yes. I can create a structure, Kalu
Yes, you
Trust,
can. Yes, yes.
and that Kalu Trust, I will now put my CSCS in that Kalu Trust. I can maybe have the one for proper, and then buy into that trust, and then. But how does it work with? I can't put when I do my will because it's a bank account. So is it only the portfolio will be in the trust, but the bank account for the trust would now go to the will? How will that marry? Because
Okay, okay. So let me just explain it in this simple form. Your personal bank account should be in your will. That doesn't mean the trust can't have its account. The trust can have its account where the signature should be the trustee, but you are still the UBO that will be operated for the investment purposes. That is separate. But and for the trust account, you don't have access to it. Like you don't have immediate access to it, so you can't go to the ATM to make withdrawals as you do for your personal account. So you can't put your personal account into the trust. It has to be in your will. But when it comes to the portfolio setup, investment accounts and all, they can't be in the trust. They are managed by the trust. There's going to be an account number. Maybe you want to make investment. There's an account, a trust account number you would pay into that receive this payment and then invest on your behalf and all. So that is well covered. But it's different from your own personal bank account that should not be in the trust.
okay, all right, I hear you because I'm asking. I had a colleague that was trying to set up an educational trust for a nephew. The parents had passed away, and I was asking for the best way to do this. Something you wanted to put a bulk sum, and the bulk sum will then be invested, and the dividends will then pay the school fees of the nephew. So yeah, that is in that kind of scenario. How would you advise if I came to you and I want to buy treasury bills that are very, very safe, and I want to take the income, the coupon from that treasury bill and pay the school fees for a nephew? What's the structure? A trust structure would be the best to put the treasury bills in.
That's the best.
That's the best. Okay.
That's the best.
Okay.
Trust. You can't use the rules for that.
Okay. What if I wanted to give money to my school, my alma mater? Would I then now give that treasury bond to a foundation or to a trust? How does it? Which is best now for that instance?
Yeah. So if it's a one-time giving, like this is what I own. I have. Let me just use an hypothetical figure. I have 100 million. I want to dedicate a portion of it to pay my nephew's school fees, and I want to keep giving this portion. Let's say let me just put it in numbers. I have 100 million. I need 80 million to be set aside for my nephew's school fees, and I need 20 million to be paid for maybe my alma mater, let's say XYZ school, and I want it to be paid maybe yearly the sum of maybe ₦1 million. So what is going to happen is that for your nephew's educational needs, an educational trust to be set up, and then there is the investment bit of it underneath it. Then typically, as ARM, that's why, because we work as a group, we have the ARM investment managers also. We have investment managers who can either create a portfolio or we have safe investment instruments that these funds will be invested in, like our typical money market funds and the like. So money market funds pays dividends quarterly, and so we ensure that this is benchmarked to when maybe school fees payments or you'll be needing withdrawals for my educational needs and all. So that is covered. Then you have a trust deed that governs that. Then when you now want to give out, if it's something you want to just be giving out, okay, just in my name, just you, this one is expired, there can be an investment to house the extra 20 million for the gifting to the alma mater. And once that time is up, you give us the specifics, we should just go to this school and all, and it's fine. But if you are trying to create something that would continue, like saying, when you are defining who the beneficiaries is, and so, I want to maybe keep giving to a cause for less privileged children in, let me just use you as in Unilag, or for everyone with a 200 level. You're already defining something. So then you can now create a foundation. You can give it a name, and then you will not put in a lump sum. And once a lump sum is there should be individuals we call board of trustees and all. Because if you put in a lump sum of 20 million, the investment should always continue because depending on what is in the articles and charter, so if it's something that the foundation should keep funding itself, it should be self-funded, that means it should be reinvested. If it's a plan to say, oh, all beneficiaries from this foundation too should also give back a portion, either 10% of their first income, so that it can continue even, it can be a going concern. But if it's something just one-off, short-term to the expression of the fund, it can be under the trust. But if it's something that that wants to continue to be a legacy, you must think of an engine, an investment and a plan that will keep it to running. I don't want to say forever, but to the specified time. So foundations are up to 50 years. Some can say for 25 years. Some have plans that say, okay, beneficiaries that are people that are students that have been, their school fees have been paid from this. They are able to give back 10% of their income or something, just giving back to the foundation to ensure that they have regular stream of income is being invested, and that need for setting it up, is continuous. So when you're thinking of foundations, you're thinking of legacy. But if you're just thinking of your own one-side personal giving, you just have it under the trust and it's fine.
Well understood, well explained. Thank you so much. I have a last question. I'm going to let Supreme speak. I don't want to keep you ladies up too long. Supreme, you've got the floor. Go ahead.
Good evening, Calum. Good evening, all. I have just a few questions. From what Blessing said earlier, I want to ask, the will, can I go direct to a probate instead of meeting you guys and have it registered in the court? So I file the court fees at the probate by myself, instead of doing it to a third party. That is one. Then for the will and for the trust, we have issues in the banking sector when somebody keeps money in the bank and the family members are not aware and this person is late. So if the family members don't know that he has such money in that account, nobody knows how to go about it. So for the trust, how do we know how if the person has the trust with you guys and it didn't get his own copy, as such, his family members are not aware. So if he has kept this trust for you guys for up to like 10, 15 years, and the person passes on, how do you know that this person is no longer alive and able to trace his family members for these funds to be released back to them as it was written in the trust? Thank you.
Those are fantastic questions.
Thank you so much, Supreme. That was, like Kali said, that was a fantastic question. Okay, so for the will, right? So if we draft the will, or maybe your lawyer drafts the will and you want to lodge yourself, it's okay. You can lodge yourself. But you may not know the processes of lodging. So that was why I recommended that you should use a professional. But if you want to lodge yourself, you also have that option. Once we draft for you, you can lodge yourself, which is fine. To your second question for the trust, if the family members are not aware that the person has a trust, and it can also be in the case of a will, some family members will not know that the person has a will. So what we do now, and most times we get your KYC documents, right? So for your trust, we have what we call trust protector. So that's the person that we relating to us in case of anything, in case of your demise, of the person's demise or incapacitation. So that's the person that will be relating with us. And also we do a regular check-in with all our clients. So from there we get to know. And also maybe you work in a company and your company, we went to the company to do a marketing plan for them and all that, and they subscribe to that. We also do a follow-up check-in with the HRs, and they also tell us, okay, this person. But in all, we encourage people to tell at least one person, a trusted person. And for the trust, we have what we call trust protector that will get the details of the person and will follow up with the person and also follow up with the person that is setting up the trust. And for the wills, we have details of all the beneficiaries in our accounts, in our custody. So we run through daily checks and all that. So
just if I could follow on this question, is it a secret? If I have a trust, can people find out if I have a trust, or is it confidential? That's it, because it looks like if it's a confidential answer, right, then I can have a trust and pass on, nobody will know I have a trust.
Yes, trust is a confidential agreement, right? But that does not mean your partner will not know that you have trust. We've even seen instances that some people will tell you, myself and my wife will be the joint settlor, the co-settlors. I don't want to be alone. I don't want you to be alone. And even if you don't want to use your partner as co-settlor, you can use your partner or your best friend or whoever you trust, your trusted person, as your trust protector. And like I said, a trust protector is somebody that is going to be carrying out whatever instructions or be giving us instructions, and the person is going to let us know if the eventuality happens, maybe incapacitation or demise. So it's the person that will let us know. So we also have the contact of the person, and you're supposed to tell the person that I have an estate plan in place in case of anything. So the person can also let us know. We can't know everybody. We can't know that this person is dead. So if we don't also do our own regular checking or somebody letting us know, right? So we have to.
Going back to your example about the bank that was sort of suppressing the millions that this guy had in an account, how would if I was how do we avoid that? If that guy was my father or my uncle, how can I avoid that? Because in this case, it was clearly a bad actor that was an institution, and you guys had to go to another institution to force that bad actor to respond. How can we avoid this? If I'm the wife, yes, we know how men sort of hide things. What can the wife do? Please help me out here.
Okay, so most times the best way, like I said, like Uncle Lumi said, for personal bank accounts, it's better you have a will, no matter the amount that is there, just to get your money out. In case of eventualities, just for your beneficiaries to get your money out. So it's better, because if you don't have a will, like I said, the rigorous process, we have to start checking this, we have to start checking that. And what we can't even say if you even got all the money out till now, we can't say, because we have other bank accounts that maybe the man does not even have check stops, maybe he does not even collect check, maybe because we also went through his phone to be sure that, okay, this person's alert, there's an alert coming from here, or there's money going out. So what if the trustees or the person that is handling that process is not even careful, or is not doing his job or a job the way it is? They will have left the money like that, and nobody, and the children or the family members will be lying helplessly on the streets begging for what to eat. So it also depends on the professional that is handling the process, and also we ourselves. We need to, not even to protect our beneficiaries, our loved ones, not to see them suffer. Let's do the right thing by creating a will. That's the simplest, which is actually the simplest, the minimum amount. If the person cannot set up a trust, create something for your bank account, at least to cover all your expenses, all your accounts, so that your beneficiaries can assist. Get something. And why are we working if we say we're working for our children, and yet we are not even doing the right thing to cover those assets for them? Because if you don't have all those things in place, then the government will take over, and government can distribute your assets even in the way you don't want it. That's when if you don't have a will, government can they can distribute your assets in the way you don't want. And I'm very sure that is not the wishes of any person, that government should take over or government should give my assets to different people. So
okay, let me get this guy with Bishop, and we're going to round on the next 8 minutes. Bishop, real quick, Bishop, how you doing? Thanks for being here. We'll be done in about 7 minutes. How you doing, Bishop? Thanks for hanging on with us here.
I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing very well, sir.
The space, you always take up my time every Sunday evening.
Sorry about that, sir.
It's nice. We all like. So my question is about your offices. You have offices nationwide. If somebody, for example, is in Kebbi State or in Edo State, how is it going to get across to people and maybe register or something, get access to your services? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, yes, we have offices in Abuja. We have we have two in Lagos. That's the headquarters in Lagos, Ikoyi, and also we have in Ilupeju branch. That's at Anthony. We also have in Port Harcourt. So those are the 4 offices we have. But you can reach us via our social medias or website, ARM Trustees Limited website. You can reach us there. And if you also want our personal contact, you can get that from Mr. Kalu. So you can also reach us.
Gotcha. But Blessing, I have a question. So in the US, if you pass on, right, the assets are kept for 5 years in the bank. After 5 years, it then goes to what they call encashment. It goes to the like in the state, it goes to the state, and the state has a website where they publish the names of all the folks that their monies are in that website. And I believe it's after 5 years, the state then takes the money. So in Nigeria, how are we set up? If someone passes away and there's a building, there's no will, there's no trust, there's no asset, there's no next of kin, what happens to that building?
In Nigeria, we're still work in progress, so I believe we'll get there one day.
Oh my God, that's.
I believe we'll get there.
Let me just attempt it.
Yeah.
Let me add to that, Mr. Supreme. CBN is actually working on it with commercial banks. So
Yes.
if you have any accounts that's been idle for 10 years and above, CBN said all those monies to us. Most likely, the owners of those monies are deceased and people are not aware of them. So instead of keeping it in the bank balance sheet, so move them to CBN. That's why you see now, you see different banks are now getting to call people, getting them to come and reactivate their dormant accounts, or those accounts go dormant. So if you see all banks are now calling people, please come and reactivate your account with us, to know those that are deceased and separate them from those funds they will send to the CBN. So CBN gave banks 90 days to do that.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I think between now and August, that will be concluded.
That's a great response. Thanks for that. Let me ask you also.
Thank you so much, Supreme.
Now a second question. Again, in the US, there's a case where a guy in the US, he had a daughter. He was estranged with the daughter, but he had a brother. He recorded a video. He's recorded his will on a video recording. So he said he didn't want anyone to think he was not sound mind. He recorded the will on a video and he submitted it. I don't know where he submitted it to, but the video was determined not as a legal means to do a probate. Hence, the assets went to the daughter that he didn't like, right? So in Nigeria, are there any inhibitions to electronic wills? If I tweet my will, or if I do a recording of my will, or like, is it still legal? And the second question again to both of you, I'm not sure if you guys know the answer to this, but it's Bitcoin. If I have digital asset like Bitcoin, where does it flow? Do I have to put it like the bank account will, or does it go to the trust? And do you know if there's any legal ways to transfer those? How would I send the wallet? I don't know if you'd answer, but give me that your take on that, please. As we start to wind down.
So for video generated, before now, everybody used to think of, I think before I went to study my course, everybody used to think that when you are reading a will, you have to come to the house, the lawyer will come and read the will, or somebody will not see a screen, and people will, the man will start dictating all of that. But no, it does not. Like you said, it has to be written, and it has to be signed by the person that is doing the will, and also by two witnesses in the presence of each other. So a will must be handwritten. It must be written. It must be in writing. Let me just put it. Let me know it must be written. It must be in writing. It must be signed by the person writing it, and by two witnesses. They must attest to you. They must attest to the will. So two witnesses, two capable witnesses that are not beneficiaries of that will. So it has to be written in Nigeria.
That are not beneficiaries. So the son can't see the will if it's a beneficiary. He can't be a witness.
It can't be a witness if it's a beneficiary.
Interesting.
So the person must be independent. People that are attesting must be independent of. They must not. They won't even see what is inside the will. They have just to sign the execution page where the witness page is. They won't even see what is inside the will.
What if it's notarized? I know if it's notarized, sometimes they allow you to notarize and skip witnesses. Does that count, or it still has to be signed physically?
It has to be signed for now, Nigeria. It has to be signed physically.
Gotcha. Okay, can you speak on the digital assets? If I have, like, say, crypto, is there any law that says how will that does that go to my will, to my trust? Do you have any insight on that?
So it depends on, like I said, it depends on what the person's objective is. But it can either be in the will or the trust, depending on what the person's objective is. So it can also be in your estate plan documents.
Understood. All right. So just, I think I have one person here. We'll take that last question, and then my last question is on power of attorney. So, like, how do power of attorney work in Nigeria? Do we accept them? If I have a power of attorney over someone's finances, does it stop when the person passes away, like they have offshore? What's the relationship with power of attorney for health and finance and wills and trust? How does that work again?
Okay, so for power of attorney, right? Power of attorney is simply enabling somebody to do something that you cannot do at that moment, right? Or maybe it's just confirming yourself, nominating somebody, telling them to make powers or to make decisions for you, either for medical decisions or financial decisions, right?
Yeah.
In the case of the incapacitation, or maybe you're going for a surgery, medical surgery and all that. So it's but once the person is dead, then the power of attorney ceases, right?
Yeah.
It ceases. You can't the person cannot do anything against it, can't be effective again. But when you are doing power of attorney before the person dies, it must be in writing, it must be signed, and it must be notarized. Right? So if you don't have all of that, the person that is holding the power of attorney is just holding paper. So it has to be notarized that you can carry out that duty, or that what will I put it now? That task, yes, that task for that person. But once the person is dead, the POA ceases immediately.
Understood. All right. We have a few. Just take two questions. I'll let you guys go. I got Lulu Nakas, and then we'll do effects, and then I'll just thank you, ladies, for just coming here and giving us so much knowledge. Lulu, you've got the floor. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Carlo. My regard to you and the enlightenment you bring to this space.
Thank you, sir.
For Bitcoin, I think technology solves that issue when transfer of assets is needed. There's something we call dead man switch in a dead man switch wallet setup. So you can time it so that at a specific time, it can, your assets can be transferred to whoever you delegate it to.
How will that work? Please give me how will that work? I own the wallet. I'll put, say, in 5 years' time. Walk me through.
Okay, it's a bit technical, but there are two ways you can set it up. You can set it up solely by yourself, where you have a wallet protocol and you have a second wallet. Then you create a dead man's time lock. Okay, there's an application for that. Some custodians, institutional custodians, they have their own version, like River. You also have a crypto space, Swan Bitcoin, so you can check them up. So they offer such services. But if you know how to do it yourself, you can actually do it by yourself. You don't pay anybody. You run the app, set your lock, time lock, the wallet you want to dedicate it to. You set it also. Then you now set the time you want the money or the asset to flow to that wallet. Okay, then but you can also stop it. Since you have the master key, you can stop it. Another thing you could also do is to delegate that master key to if you have a trust. Okay, a trust account with a custodian. You can give them the power to ensure that flow or that transaction completes.
Okay.
So there are several ways you can do it. But what I'm interested to ask really in Nigeria in terms of trust, delegating physical assets such as land, landed properties, real estate, and so on. I find it confusing. If you, like abroad, for instance, you can use your asset in trust to raise capital. Is that possible in Nigeria? Do they do it? Is there a service that is being offered currently, where you could use your asset in trust to borrow, against the value, something like that, and use for investments? That's what I wanted to really find out from the lady that was speaking earlier.
So, you say how to use the trust as a. Did I hear you right? I want to make sure I heard you. Can you repeat the question again, please?
Yeah. For instance, in the US, once you put your asset in a trust, you could there could be a valuation to it, tied to it, and you can borrow against your asset values from a bank. Your trust people give you something like a credit note or something like that, where you could approach the bank, and raise capital with the value of your assets effortlessly. In fact, now I think there's a tokenized version of it where you tokenize all your assets. They call it RWAs, real world asset tokenizations, with their deeds. Then the value is done, the valuation is done. You tokenize the value, and then you can use it to raise capital. So I don't know if that service is current. Any institution is offering that service right now.
Yes, we do that. We do that with your trust assets. You can also use your trust assets to get loans or credit facilities from the bank. So we also do that. Yes.
They're on it. They're on it. Interesting. All right, perfect. Let's get if Rex, your hand was up, and if you have questions, we sort of close the space. And if Rex, any questions?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Blessing and Lower Panumi, I learned so much from you guys. But in as much as you people have given us the positive side of having a trust and a will, so please can you also let us know the downside of someone that owns an estate, without a trust, neither a will. What is in store for that kind of a person? Thank you.
You want them to give you the disadvantage of owning the trust? I'm not sure I got that question. Isn't it obvious? That's like they're saying you have to have it just because what they're saying,
Yes, that's what I mean. Like like I own an estate now, and I'm a family person, and I own all of these things, and money in the bank, real estate, other assets, agriculture, then no trust, no will. Okay, what is in store for me, let's say, or for my children, let's say I am no more, and let's say they are not aware of most of my other dealings, outside what they are seeing.
Well, let me
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, if I'm sure I get your question correctly, you're saying that if you don't have a will or you don't have a trust, what is the disadvantage, right? Is that what it's asking?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the first thing is the peace of mind for your beneficiaries or your loved ones. If you don't have a will, you don't have a trust, then what happens to them? How do they continue to survive? Maybe you are the breadwinner of your family, like you said, and they depend on you as a family man, they depend on you to provide for their needs, and God forbid something happened. So, and you did not put the estate plan in place, then how do they survive? How do they continue to manage themselves or access those things that you do for them before now, and they can't get those benefits again? Two, to also for family members, we've seen instances that some people, because they don't have a will or they don't have a trust in place, I'm so sorry if I'm going to mention this part, is respect to not really to the Igbo parts, but most Igbos, especially the men, when they pass, the brothers-in-laws will come and they say this is the entitlement and all that, and the wife and the children will also be in disarray and all that. So we've seen those instances, so you can breed conflicts between the families, between the family of the breadwinner and also the immediate family itself. So to avoid all of this, to have issues with your own immediate family, having issues with your extended family, it's also important for you to have an estate plan. Also, like I said, to bridge that gap that the government will be sitting on your money, it's also important for you to have that. And also, to just create peace of mind for your family, that's the basic thing. So it's important you have it. It's just to create peace of mind for your family members, just to avoid unwanted disputes or conflict of interest with people. The people who don't even intend for them to access your assets, then they're the one getting those assets. Whereas people that you even intend, they're working for, they're not even getting those assets. So it's just for peace of mind, basically. So that's why it's important to have all these things in place.
Well said. Are there any tax, last question for me, are there any tax benefits for owning a trust? Because I heard you say when you own, the government takes 10% debt taxes. Is there any tax benefit for owning a trust vis-a-vis a will?
Okay, so it just minimizes tax, not like it's erasing tax or it's invading tax. It just minimizes tax. So for the if you are putting your asset in a trust, like I said, it's not going through probate. So the 10% that government is going to take on your your net asset value, aside your pension, they're not going to take it from the trust because the trust is, like I said, is confidential. It's just between you and the said trustees. But for your will, it has to go through probate, which they will take 10% inheritance tax. I know for UK is taking 40%.
Wow.
So Nigeria is actually doing the lowest. Yes, Nigeria is one of the lowest taken for inheritance tax. So, but most majorly, the only thing that trust do for you is just minimizes tax. It's just that the 10% you won't be paying it on all your assets, just to reduce your value, so that your beneficiary can actually see something. So maybe when you're putting your real estate property in your trust, then the government will not be charging on your real estate property for in your will. So that's it basically. And when you're going to come registering it and all that, it also not be a double taxation. So it just minimizes tax, not like it's a base tax or it's a voice tax. It just minimizes it from profit.
Perfect. I think that works for me. I mean, Blessing, Pelumi, I've just been listening and learning. And that's what this space is all about. You've cleared a lot of doubts, and literally a lot of doubts on the space with just your knowledge and your delivery on this topic that we don't want to talk about, but we really have to talk about it and learn about it. We've been talking next of kin's, wills, trusts, foundations, powers of attorneys, costs, how to set it up, notaries, all that kind of stuff. And you've really given us a lot of information today. Spaces are recorded, so if you want to go back and listen to them speak to hear more in depth, the space is going to be recorded. I'm also going to do a briefing note just in case you prefer to read. I'll do a briefing note when then I'll try to share that as well to just be the text, the highlight text of what they've said, those key topics, like a briefing note, so that way you can have it. Because these things are very, very important for us to know. We don't want to have all our assets and put the next of kin as a 2-year-old boy and think we're done and then go to sleep and then something happens and our assets are dissipated either via taxation or via family infighting. So we don't want to do that. So just want to thank again my two guests. So if you guys want to hop on and just say thank you or your closing remarks, I would love to take that and then we'll just call it a day. Thank you so much. I can start with Blessing.
All right, thank you so much, Kalu, for having us. We really appreciate the time, and it was quite engaging and insightful. And thank you to the other speakers that came on board and also enlightened us, especially the bank sector and also the digital asset, as the wallet. Thank you so much. It was actually insightful, and we hope to do this more often to enlighten people. But just my closing remarks, just to say that, just like Kalu said, people don't want to talk about it because when you tell them estate planning, they believe you are telling them that you want to die, but that's actually a myth. It's not true. You can have an estate plan right from 25 or 22 years old, and you can live up to 100 years. It's just for you to keep updating. So, like I said, it's actually important. This preparation starts early. Let us prepare early. So, because we don't know when God or Allah, I don't know if we are Muslims on the call, we don't know when God will say it's our time to come home. So, it's actually important for us to have all these things in place for our beneficiaries. I know the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children. And I know Allah they also said the same thing in the Quran. So I believe this is a good way to also honor the word of God. So this is just my own closing remarks. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for having Pelumi on the call.
Appreciate you, both of you. Pelumi, hi, how are you doing? Thanks so much for being here as well. Do you have any closing remarks?
Let me just speak it right out of my mouth. Thank you, everyone. And just to add to what you said, the only certainty about life is the fact that it's uncertain. So it's always good to put things in order. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Carlos.
Excellent, excellent, guys. All right, folks, thank you so much for hanging out here. Next Sunday, I'm going to be traveling. Unfortunately, I'll be in the air. I'm not sure when I'll land on Sunday, so I think next week's Sunday space may not hold, guys. We'll try to see what we can do, but I'm not sure we're going to hold a space on the 27th. Also, on the 3rd, that's dicey. May not hold. So 2 weeks we may not hold space. Try to hold a space during the week. Definitely during the week of the 27th. Let me try to hold a space during the week to compensate for the Sunday. I'm trying to let you guys know what that is for that time, so you guys can hop in and then we can all learn together as well. Well, thank you so much, guys, for being here. I really do appreciate you guys for hanging out here, even though we had a technical issues, went out of the space twice, but you guys were still here. So that means a lot that you want to learn and you want to know about your money, and that's really what we're here for. Thank you so much, guys. Hopefully, we will see you guys here in 2 weeks. But during the week, I will try to give you when we're going to meet during the week, so we can just talk. It doesn't have to be like a topic per se. We can just talk, right? And just learn as well. So on that note, guys, let me let you guys go. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend and also take a good night's sleep. Wake up. One is going to be fantastic for everyone. Things are happening. The world is, evolving faster. And let's see what the Fed will do with rates. Rates in the US matter to Nigeria's naira. You see, the naira is strengthening. If the US dollar or the Fed reduces rates even more, it will strengthen more. So pay attention to that as well. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. I'll see you next week. Do have a good time, and bye.
Every business has an ambition. PayPal Open is the platform designed to help you grow into yours. With business loans so you can expand and access to hundreds of millions of PayPal customers worldwide. And your customers can pay all the ways they want with PayPal, Venmo, Pay Later, and all major cards, so you can focus on scaling up. When it's time to get growing, there's one platform for all business. PayPal Open. Grow today at paypalopen.com. Loans subject to approval in available locations.